a treasure the world could never price. Pause. Before you count what she owns, count what she gave. She is poor in wealth. Yes, but rich in a love that outlives hunger, outlasts winters, and survives years that took more than they returned. At 60, she walks with careful steps, yet every step carries the echo of sacrifices no ledger could record. Her hands are light of gold, heavy with history. She learned to make enough from almost nothing, to warm rooms with patience, to turn silence into shelter. Where others measured life by gain, she measured it by care. Her eyes hold storms she never named, nights she never complained about, prayers whispered so softly only hope could hear. Still, when she smiles, the world feels kinder. She fed futures while her own dreams waited. She stood behind the curtain so others could step into light. She chose love when bitterness offered relief. Call her poor if you must, but know this: what she carries cannot be stolen, cannot be taxed, cannot be buried. She is my 60-year-old treasure, rich where it matters, royal where it counts, and priceless in a world that forgot how to measure love. The riches hidden in her silence. She never spoke of how much she carried. Silence became her language, patience her daily prayer. While the world rushed forward, she stayed behind, holding things together with tired hands and a heart that refused to quit. She learned to smile without reasons, to wait without guarantees, to love without being loved back the same way. Her silence was not emptiness. It was discipline. It was strength choosing dignity over noise. She listened more than she spoke, endured more than she showed, and forgave more than anyone deserved. In her quietness lived a wealth no voice could announce, wisdom earned through loss, faith polished by disappointment, and love refined by years of giving. She did not ask life to be gentle. She asked herself to be kind anyway. At 60, her silence feels heavy only to those who understand how much it holds. She is poor in wealth, but rich in restraint, rich in mercy, rich in a love that learned how to survive without applause. This is the richness that grows in quiet soil, unseen, unpraised, yet strong enough to hold generations. The love that raised me, what I stand on today, was built by her patience. What I carry inside was shaped by her care. She raised me, not with abundance, but with attention, not with ease, but with effort. When resources were thin, her love grew thicker. When options were few, her commitment multiplied. She taught me how to stay human in hard times, how to stay honest when shortcuts appeared, how to stay kind when the world felt sharp. Her love corrected gently, protected fiercely, and guided quietly. It never embarrassed, never broke, never abandoned. She stood between me and the weight of the world, absorbing storms so I could grow in calm. I did not inherit riches. I inherited roots. I did not receive luxury. I received direction. At 60, her love lives on in me, in my choices, in my values, in the way I love others, because she loved me first. She is poor in wealth, but she made me rich in everything that lasts. The strength time could not take. Time tested her gently at first, then without mercy. Years pressed on her shoulders. Days asked more. Then they returned. Yet she did not bend into bitterness. She learned how to carry fatigue with grace, how to walk slowly, without surrendering purpose. Her strength is not loud. It does not challenge the world. It survives it. She has endured without applause, persisted without praise, and continued when stopping would have been easier. Her resilience lives in routine, in showing up again, in choosing patience over protest. She understands now that strength does not roar. It breathes. It waits. It lasts. At 60, her strength feels settled, less urgent, more certain. She knows storms pass because she has outlived many. She is poor in wealth, but rich in endurance, rich in calm, rich in a strength that no hardship ever managed to steal. The long road she walked without turning back. She has walked a road that never promised comfort. Each step asked for patience. Each year demanded more. Then it returned. Her life was not built on ease or choice. It was built on responsibility, on endurance, on staying when leaving would have been simpler. She learned early how to make peace with little, how to stretch hope when resources ran thin, how to keep faith alive when answers delayed themselves. There were mornings her body felt heavier than the day ahead, nights when sleep came only after tears had dried quietly. Yet she rose again, not because she felt strong, but because someone depended on her strength. She carried worries she never shared, fears she never named, and sacrifices she never counted. Her love did not pause to ask if she had enough left. It simply kept giving. She was never protected from hardship. She survived it. Time took her youth, her ease, her softness, but it failed to take her purpose. At 60, she walks slower, but steadier. She no longer rushes to prove anything. She knows now that surviving with dignity is its own victory. She is poor in wealth, yet rich in history, rich in lessons learned the hard way, rich in a love that stayed loyal to everyone else before itself. This is the long road she walked, without applause, without shortcuts, without turning back, and every step of it made her the treasure she is today. What time could not break. Time tried to humble her, but she was already humble. It tried to bend her, but she had learned flexibility long before the years arrived. She aged not from laziness, but from effort. Every wrinkle is a sentence written by sacrifice. Every line a memory of standing when rest was a luxury. She gave without keeping records. She loved without demanding proof. Her hands grew rough, yet her heart stayed gentle. A rare balance the world rarely teaches. There were days she smiled only so others would not worry. Nights she whispered prayers, not for herself, but for those sleeping under her care. She watched seasons change, while her struggles remained, yet she adapted, like a tree that learns how to grow around storms. Instead of waiting for calm, she was never loud about her pain. She believed suffering did not need an audience to be real. So she endured quietly, with grace stitched into her silence. At 60, her eyes hold stories no book could finish. Loss, patience, faith, and a love that survived disappointment without hardening. She does not chase dreams now. She understands them. She knows some victories arrive disguised as survival, and some crowns are invisible. What time could not break is what defines her, not her poverty, not her age, not her exhaustion, but her ability to remain kind in a world that gave her every reason to be bitter. She is still standing, still loving, still becoming proof that endurance, when mixed with love, creates a quiet kind of royalty. The quiet crown. She does not ask life why it was heavy with her. She has already learned that some souls are chosen to carry more because they can. At 60, she walks slower, but her spirit moves ahead, guiding, guarding, still thinking of others before herself. She owns little, yet lacks nothing essential. Her wealth lives in the prayers she made, the tears she hid, the love she never withdrew, even when it hurt her. She learned long ago that survival is an art. You breathe through pain. You smile through hunger. You hope even when hope feels tired. The world never applauded her, yet she became strong without clapping for herself. She didn't need witnesses to her sacrifice. She trusted God and kept going. Her voice may tremble now, but her heart does not. It has survived storms that would have shattered louder souls. She is proof that dignity can exist without comfort, that love can live without luxury, that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "I am still here." If her life were a crown, it would not shine with gold, but with endurance, not polished, but earned. She stands today, not as a victim of years, but as their victory. A woman shaped by pain, refined by patience, and crowned by silent love. What time could not steal, time tried to bargain with her. It took her youth, creased her hands, quietly dimmed the mirror, but it failed to steal her essence. At 60, she is no longer chasing tomorrow. She has learned that peace is not found ahead. It is built slowly, by surviving yesterday, with grace. Her days were never easy chapters. They were written with worn shoes, with unpaid dreams, with nights that asked questions. She answered alone. Still she rose. Again and again. She discovered early that love is not always gentle. Sometimes it is endurance. Sometimes it is staying when leaving would hurt less. Sometimes it is feeding others while hunger learns your name. Her hands, they remember everything. The weight of responsibility, the heat of cheap stoves, the softness of children, sleeping without fear, because she stood awake. She was never loud about her sacrifices. Pain sat with her quietly, like an old companion who knew she would not complain. She made peace with suffering, without letting it poison her heart. Age did not make her weak. It made her honest. She no longer pretends. She no longer explains. She carries her truth, the way mountains carry snow. Silently, with strength. Her eyes still glisten, not because she expects more, but because she remembers everything. Every kindness she gave away. Every moment she chose love over bitterness. She stands now, not waiting for applause, not asking to be understood. She knows who she is, and that knowing is freedom. Time passed through her life, like a storm through a field. Yet somehow, she remained standing, rooted in patience, untouched in soul. She is not what years did to her. She is what years could not break. The lessons hidden in her life. Her life was never simple, never wrapped in ease. Each day was a lesson, disguised as struggle. Each year a teacher, in patience and endurance. She learned to carry more than she thought possible, to give more than she received, to love more than the world returned. Her heart became a sanctuary for those who needed it. Even when her own soul cried in silence, she fed others' dreams, while quietly shelving her own, smiling while the world overlooked the battle she fought alone. She discovered that dignity is not bought, nor inherited, but earned in the quiet choices we make every day. She taught me that strength is gentle, that love does not demand recognition, and that royalty is not measured in possessions, but in how one carries oneself through storms unannounced. At 60, she understands the power of staying soft when hardness surrounds you, of being patient when impatience reigns, of choosing love even when life seems cruel. Her wisdom is invisible, but it shapes the world more profoundly than any crown could. Her lessons do not speak, they endure. They linger in the hearts of those who notice and those who choose to follow her example. She is poor in wealth, but richer than empires, in kindness, patience, and love. Her life whispers truth. True value lies not in gold, but in a soul that refuses to harden against the world. Every wrinkle, every scar, every tear, they are not marks of weakness, but badges of a life fully lived, of a heart that refused to stop giving. She is 60, and her lessons will outlive the years, outlast the pain, and continue to inspire long after the world forgets her name. At 60, she has nothing the world measures as wealth, yet she possesses everything that matters to a heart. Her hands are worn, her back slightly bent, her hair streaked with silver, but her soul is vast, untouchable by scarcity, untamed by hardship. She carried years that would have broken others. She endured storms that would have silenced many, and still she gave, without complaint, without expecting return, without pause. Her life is a lesson that love can outweigh loss, that patience can outlast pain, and that a heart that chooses kindness is richer than empires. She is proof that wealth is not counted in coins, but in courage, compassion, and the relentless generosity of spirit. Her legacy is quiet, but eternal. It lives in the lives she touched, the hearts she protected, and the love she gave, even when her own needs were many. She is 60, and yet she teaches the world what it means to be truly rich. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. Celebrate the women who gave everything without ever asking for recognition.